So this video is to bring more context and clarity to the perspectives I've shared in the post below. I'll say first that this is a great exercise teaching people how to control forces, acting on low limbs, especially when we move outside of the sagittal plane. But I'll also preface this by saying we should obviously earn the right. We need to do the basics first. We should be able to reach in positions like this in the sagittal plane, where my foot comes forward to 12 o'clock and say even behind me to 6 o'clock. And once we've earned the right, we've got some competency and a confidence to do these movements well under load, then we should be more comfortable to starting to look and venture into frontal plane and transverse plane movements. And the idea of that, I think, is absolutely essential because sport is played in 3 dimensions on legs in just about every single sport on the planet. So we should be giving athletes a competency and an ability to do this well. But perhaps as this exercise starts to progress and I rotate and pivot open and I reach out to 3, 4, even 5 o'clock, is that I start to obviously reach in some more considered precarious positions where the knee is concerned. And folks who maybe commonly injure their knee in this position is because obviously I'm coming into a valgus knee position. And for example, ACL injuries that may occur in positions like this is because, with the classic ACL mechanism taking place, we've got a forwardly translating tibia, a tibia that's also internally rotating, and you've got a femur that's forwardly displacing as well. This in turn opens the medial compartment of the knee and places that ACL in a disadvantaged position. Perhaps more traditional thinking would say that this is the knee's fault and it's the tissues around the knee that weren't strong enough or durable enough to cope with the loading acting upon a knee that's loading in a transverse plane position. But I believe more forward-thinking conventional practice would say that actually it probably isn't the knee's fault. Have we even taught that foot to pronate effectively and start to mediate some of the forces coming up into the knee? Have we also taught that hip how to effectively externally rotate and adduct and cope with and close off some of those forces acting at the pelvis so that we've got a knee that's protected by its older and younger brother, say, above and below that sister? And so number one for me, that's one of the great things about this exercise. We teach the foot and we teach the hip how to orientate and organise effectively when we've got a challenge in our base of support. And if we can do this effectively, then we've got a knee that's supported as we rotate and achieve good motor coordination at the ankle, the foot, and at the hip to control the forces and constrain that effort that segmentally once upon a time was considered just important for the knee, but now globally is incredibly important for that whole limb to coordinate effectively together and attenuate those forces. And if we can do that effectively, then we've got a system that's really happy to pass force coming up from the foot, past the knee and up through the hip into the spine and then back down again out through the foot as we push off and propulse our body mass forwards. And so in my experience, it's those individuals who commonly injure their knee, say in this position, lack the active mobility or stability coming from the foot and from the hip. They also lack a really essential part, and I think a more discussed area at the moment, which is the co-contractions happening either end of the knee from the calf, the quad and the hamstring. And then on top of that, you've got a foot, an ankle, a shin and a thigh that's effectively coordinating all at once to protect that knee and make sure that we're loading into this position using elastic tissues and we can spring in and out of those movements rather than hanging on joint tissue because we lack the requisite active mobility, stability and strength of these structures, which of course so often results in joint pathology and or major injury like ACL injuries, which I've mentioned already. So in summary, it's my belief that we should be comfortable training people to move well in these positions, providing that we obey the rules of loading joints in clean, healthy positions, a joint that can access full range of movement, and that we can do it with the aim to teach our muscles and nervous system and the brain that we have options outside of the sagittal plane and that we can do this effectively.